It's 13 minutes past 8 o'clock in the morning in the Gambia. It's coffee time. I am Peter Gomez. Thanks for joining us. My guest is Demba Baldeh, and he's with me in the studio. Good morning and welcome to Coffee Time, your first time on the program, at least live.
Yes, with you. Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you for having me.
Very good. Who is Demba Baldeh?
Demba Baldeh is a born and bred Gambian, brought up here, obviously. I am from Jara originally, was born in Jara and then grew up in Nyamina.
Whereabouts in Nyamina? I know Dankunku.
Nana.
Oh, okay.
Just towards Jareng. So I went to Pakaliba Primary School. From there I went to Jareng Primary School. That's where I finished my primary school, then went to Armitage. From Armitage, then I went to work at Civil Aviation a little bit for a couple of years before I left for the U.S.
What did you do at Civil Aviation?
I was initially I started at the administrative office as an administrative assistant. Mm-hmm. And then it was too crowded for me, so I decided to move to...
Too crowded? How do you mean too crowded?
Oh, yeah. Too many people coming in and out.
Were you literally sitting on top of each other in the office? Or
well, we didn't have enough chairs. You know, it was at the time they hire people, and give them some positions and, later on move them someplace else. So I didn't recognize what was going on.
This was Jame time?
No, this was before Jame.
Was it before?
It was before Jame.
Okay, so how did you end up in America then?
I went to the U.S. in 1995, got a visa, student visa, and then I went to the U.S., as like many other people. When I went, I had
to do what initially? To study or just to get away from the economic squeeze that was already beginning to be felt?
Obviously, both. But initially to study. That was my goal. My goal was really to go there and study. After my studies, then come back to the Gambia. And then, once I got to the U.S., I had to find my own way like everybody else. Exactly. And then life takes its toll, Then
How tough was it at the beginning?
It was a culture shock. I mean, living from the Gambia in New York in the middle of winter, that's just something different. The snow was this big, So it was a culture shock. And
you wanted to go to a different country? I mean, you arrive at different conditions.
I didn't want to go to...
You have sunlight, sunshine here.
Absolutely, yes.
1st of January to 31st of December.
Absolutely. It was still a culture shock. When you're here, you go into the U.S., you think everything, once you get there, you're all done. It's all good. You're good. But it was definitely different when I got there.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Demba is with us for the full hour. It's Coffee Time with Peter Gomez on Friday, the 17th of January. The Office of the President has announced that John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, will arrive in the Gambia in the coming hours for a one-day working visit. Ghanaian media are announcing that President Mahama is expected to land at the Banjul International Airport at 11:45 a.m., where he will be welcomed by President Barrow. Following the official reception, President Barrow will host a state luncheon in honor of the visiting Ghanaian head of state. The two leaders, still according to Ghanaian media, will hold a private meeting to explore ways to enhance the long-standing bilateral relations between the Gambia and Ghana. One report describes the visit as a reflection of the strong bond between the two West African nations. It's expected to yield outcomes that will benefit both countries. Have you ever been to Ghana?
I haven't. I haven't traveled much before I left the U.S., to be honest.
Yeah.
And even in the U.S., I haven't traveled much after that. I mean, I traveled from the U.S. to Belgium, Banjul. I've been to Senegal. But other than that, I haven't been to any other...
You've not been to Guinea-Bissau?
I haven't been to Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry. Haven't been anywhere.
But you've encountered Ghanaians in the Gambia, haven't you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And in the U.S. too.
And, what kind of people do you find them to be?
I think they are model citizens. Obviously Ghana is one of the most stable, democracies in West Africa. And they are very, very educated.
They just changed their president.
Oh, they did. And, people are realizing...
And they voted opposition.
Absolutely. And, remember, he was a president before.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I guess...
A Trump, if you like.
A Trump-like, right? That's scary.
I said a Trump, if you like.
That's scary. But, yeah, I think I was here during... I follow up. I follow politics a lot, West Africa politics and everywhere, obviously. And I think I was here when he was first president. It was good, but it was also a lot of, other things. But, the Ghanaians, the people, power belongs to the people.
Yeah.
So.
Great people, Ghanaians.
Yes.
I agree with you.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, as efforts continue to rid highways and major roads of street vendors and illegal structures, the police spokesman and public relations officer has been speaking to West Coast Radio about the Gambia Police Forces, Operation Clear Public Highways and Roads. So let's listen to Assistant Superintendent of Police Mamoru Sisawa's conversation with our reporter Esaba.
I think it's actually very important that we understand the history. It's been over 1 year, now getting to 2 years since the Operation Clear Zero started. And yes, we have made a significant stride. However, there is a lot to achieve. And we've realized that many times that areas and environments or streets or highways that have been cleared after the police or the operation team leaves that area, people would come back to occupy the places. And we have been doing this, going up and down, in and out. With them, anytime we talk to them, they leave, we go, they come back to the same place. And I think it's important that we make a decisive decision, and that we are currently at that stage to actually decide. We have had instances where people were arrested and taken to court. There are instances where people were arrested and detained. There are instances where people's luggages were seized.
Okay, like you said, this operation began more than a year ago now, and the compliance level is still an issue. So could one say that this operation has been a failure?
It's not a failure because it has not concluded. So, because to assess that and come to that conclusion requires a lot of things. Had we concluded and said, okay, we are tired, we are done, we can't do this anymore, we have done everything possible, but there is no compliance. Yes, I can agree with you, it's a failure. But it's not, because it's ongoing, and we have gone into different phases, and we've realized some of the challenges, and we have come back together to sit down and see what's the way forward, having to have assessments of the case. And this is what is happening. This is why we came up with another press release, at the beginning of the week, to state that this is a decisive phase where, the Maslaha syndrome or the Maslaha phase has gone, and going forward, because it's over 1 year, going forward, anybody who is found in areas where they're supposed not to be, where they are asked not to be, then, which means it's a deliberate act, so we are actually going forward with the prosecution stage, or the prosecution phase of it.
But given the low compliance rate, are there bigger penalties for those refusing to comply now?
Yes, we are trying to consider, because already, as we speak today, when we arrest people, we are going to take them to court. And we have instances where people are taken to court and they were in charge. They've been charged, and I think in hundreds, about 300, 400, 500. And looking at the 500, the charge levied on those people, yes, that is the law, and we can't change the law, because you understand that the time at which those laws were made and now circumstances have differed. You understand? Because if you actually come to a place where somebody is selling and is making, let's say, even 500 or $1,000 every day, and you have not been in that place for 1 week, he is able to make 7,000 in 1 week. So if you come and arrest that person the following week, the fourth day, and you take the person to court, he pays 500. So meaning 500 from 7,000 is how much? 6,005. So meaning he seems to have no loss, no significant loss as far as the business is concerned. Because you are moving again before you come back again after 1 week or 2 or 1 month again. So he has the opportunity to come back to the same position and do whatever he wants to do there. And whenever you find him there again, you take him to court, he's going to only pay 500. So we have understood this, and this is why we are working towards ensuring coming up with a very decisive decision. And I'm quite sure as we speak, that process is ongoing to come up with something.
How long will this decisive phase last? And given that people have been questioning your approach, what would be your reaction to that? And what would be your message to Gambians out there, especially those with stalls along the highway?
I think this should go back to everybody, all Gambians, all of us. All of us should be enforcers of this law. All of us are any Gambian, every Gambian. Whenever you find anything that is not in accordance, especially with the Operation Clear Zero, you understand? So if we take it as a communal responsibility, then I am quite certain and sure that that will contribute towards ensuring that the operation is a success. Yes.
How long will the decisive period last?
Now, we wouldn't know at the moment. We would actually only go ahead until we see whether that is also effective and how far that would go. We can't tell. Currently, we are also working with our regional commissioners, regional police command, that in the KMC, Serekunda and all areas that are identified of being places where the hiring rate is very low, for officers within those regions to actually come on board and support. In the absence of the Operation Clear Zero, these officers would be responsible in ensuring the maintenance of this area. That is number one. That's across Brikama, West Coast, and Banjul. So this is what we are doing. And currently, I am at Serekunda. I am at the Expert Johnson, they call it. Yesterday was a very successful one, but I was informed that it's not a successful one because it's when they hear about our coming or when they know we are coming, or when they see the signal that the officer clear the road is coming, everybody would leave the road. So, but I'm told that immediately we leave that environment, within 10 minutes to 20 minutes, it's as if we have never been there. And this is not what we want. This is not what we encourage. Because at the end of the day, then, for how long will we be doing that? The merry-go-round, going and coming, going and coming.
Piero, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure, please.
ASP Mamadou Sisawo talking to West Coast Radio and Coffee Times, Esaba. You know this problem. I mean, trying to walk through the streets anywhere, in the greater Banjul area, up to Brikama, it's just sometimes impossible.
Yes. It is.
People want to go inside a mosque or a church, to worship. You are crowded out by, market women.
Yes. It's incredible, Peter, what's happening. In fact, recently I posted on my Facebook page, right? While I was driving around, while I was here, I was taking pictures of abandoned vehicles along the road, right? Right in the middle of the road. Society cannot function without law and order and without citizens respecting the law. And sometimes when you come back into this country, you think it is a lawless country. And I must also add, the police are actually doing a good job. When you go around, you see them doing a good job, given the circumstances.
Not always.
Yeah, not always, obviously. And that's exactly what my post was about. Yeah. My post was about, okay, if you go to other countries like Senegal, for example, right? Within 30 minutes, if a vehicle is abandoned on the road, it is towed away.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why can't the police work with a towing company? Let's say you have a business, a private business, a towing company.
Well, you're just suggesting a new business
I am,
me.
I'm a business. Somebody has a towing company, and as soon as the vehicle is abandoned, within half an hour, the police are patrolling the street, tow away the vehicle to a certain place, and the cost will be passed on to the owner because it's public safety.
And buy clamps
everything
for wrong parking. Somebody has parked in the wrong place. Clamp them up, and they will come to the police station to pay the fee.
We must enforce the law, and it's a responsibility.
By the
of
way,
all of us.
I will be hosting the Inspector General of Police on Tuesday, so maybe these are
previews.
Exactly.
But the law enforcement is not only the responsibility of the police, but also the citizens.
Yeah,
I was listening. You guys are doing a good job, because I was listening to a program on West Coast the other day, and the police have a discussion about crossing, the zebra crossings.
Yeah, they hear every Wednesday and Saturday.
Very, very dangerous crossings. But both citizens, the drivers and the motorists all have to be aware that you need to cross at a safety place, for your own safety and for the safety of our fellow citizens. If you're a driver, you have a responsibility to keep the pedestrian safe. The pedestrian has a responsibility to make sure the vehicle doesn't hit them. Law enforcement is the responsibility of all of us. And I think sometimes when you go to the streets, right here, you drive on the street, you find somebody taking a big truck of sand, put it right on the middle of the road, and you can't cross.
Yeah.
It's really not considered. People have to be considerate of other citizens. Everybody has a responsibility in making sure our society is order. I come in here and I say, everybody is crossing, but you don't know where they're going. It's just incredible what's happening in this country. And I think I like the education. They call it both a carrot and sticks. You educate the people, but also you enforce the law.
Sure.
People are crossing the roads, in very dangerous places. They can be, in the US and in other places, for example, you can be ticketed for jaywalking. They call it jaywalking because it's dangerous. So everybody has a responsibility to do this. But we need to educate the people about it. And everybody has to be a watchdog. That's what I call citizen activism.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Demba Baldeh is on Coffee Time. If you'd like to advertise on the program, get in touch with Mr. Jibril Jassi on 6990107, 7870107, or 924-2424. Demba Baldeh is still with us. He's with us for the full hour. I have friends who occasionally, tease me. They say, now you have so many adverts, it disturbs the flow of the program. For people who do not know, the importance of advertising, to the media. You own a media organization.
Yes, absolutely. What people don't understand is that the media is like your care. then I get the depends every day, right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I like the combination of the entrepreneurship and then the media, through media, representation. I love that. And that's what people have to understand. In the West, they have public radios where they're funded by the public.
We have public radio, GRTS.
Exactly, right?
And
they're funded by the public.
And public television.
So, but in order to have a truly independent media, people have to support it. And this is just great. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, I love this part.
The good thing about here is, I mean, people don't put a dime, in media organized. Well, not in West Coast Radio anyway.
Right.
So we, put that burden on business organizations. I mean, the 9 companies, for instance, that co-sponsor Coffee Time. So literally, they are funding the program on behalf of people who use their services.
Right.
So
exactly.
that, in a way, is these companies fulfilling their corporate social responsibility, if you like.
Yes.
While in the process, always updating them on developments in their business. Where do where can you go for, especially in this day and age of land disputes in this country? If you're a Gambian citizen in the U.S. and you're looking for land to buy, where's the safest place to go? So West Coast Radio, proposes 1 or 2, for you. You want to come back home, but you want a bank that you can trust. We're there for you.
Yes, absolutely. The media is it's a symbiosis relationship. The media is one institution that everybody wants to hold them accountable, but nobody supports you. Or very rarely people support you, right?
I know that.
Your advertisers and citizens, that if they contribute to this media, once West Coast deviates from the actual duties and responsibilities, they can hold you accountable.
Sure.
You hear in the West once in a while, advertisers pull out from. So instead of blaming the journalists or blaming the media for doing this or supporting this group or that group, if you put in your money where your mouth is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, then you're in a better position to hold them responsible and to help lift them up.
Fantastic.
So this is what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, if you're looking for a story of innovation and creativity, our next story is just what you're looking for. It's by Boubacar Sow, featuring a group of young Gambians who studied together at the Gambia Technical Training Institute, the then Gambia Technical Training Institute, GTTI, now the University of Applied Science and Technology, USET. It's a story of young people thinking outside the box and coming up with new and innovative ideas that could make all the difference in the country's agricultural and manufacturing industries. It's all yours, Buba.
In a significant stride towards industrial innovation and self-sufficiency, the Applied Research, Innovation and Manufacturing inaugurated the nation's first locally designed and manufactured concrete mixer. The Applied Research, Innovation and Manufacturing comprises of young Gambian engineers dedicated to producing agricultural and food processing machinery and other equipment unavailable in the local market. Mr. Wali Sen is the CEO of Applied Research, Innovation and Manufacturing, delivered the welcoming remarks.
Today we are here to show you the works that we are doing here in this place. As you know, we are young people, we are engineers, we want to make a difference, and we can only do it by doing local manufacturing, trying to show what God has given us, what we have learned from our education, how we can practicalize it and solve some of our domestic problems. We highly depend on other countries to bring us those machines. We are here, we are engineers, we are saying that no, we can do it here in the Gambia.
Mr. Sen also calls on the government to support the company so as to strengthen the capacity and potentials in manufacturing more machines with a view to solve the agricultural problems in the country.
We also want government to support us, to strengthen our potential and our capacity, because we see that what we are doing is a great need for this country. When you talk about agricultural mechanization, we are active players in that industry. We want to be engaged by the officials, we want to be engaged by the authorities to strengthen us further so that we can be able to continue what we are doing. There is no machine that we cannot make in the agricultural industry. Any problem that the Gambian farmers are facing, once we have a look and understand it, we can solve that problem. And that is the core basis why we are established, is to solve Gambian problems in the agricultural industry.
Established in 2018, the company has registered numerous successes according to the CEO, ranging from manufacturing a lot of machines and training young people who are employed at the company and beyond.
We have make a lot of machines from rice threshers, milling machines, groundnut threshers, and any other products that some clients come and then want it to be customized by us.
The manufactured concrete mixer is said to be first of its kind in the Gambia, and it will help in the transformation of local construction projects with improved efficiency and reduced labor demands. Reporting for West Coast Radio, I am Bubakar Sow.
Thank you, Buba. I just wish that, one or two of them were at this investment forum. Yesterday.
Yes, absolutely.
Because,
yes.
I hope too that, Samba is listening. Because these would be, very good people to meet.
Right. And Peter, there's a lot of Sambas out there. There's a lot of Gambians. I keep saying there's 5 or 6 generations of Gambians who left this country. They went outside, they studied, they have skills, they have resources, they occupy one of the most highest positions in some of the most highest positions in the world. Those people, most of those people, many of those people are ready to come back to this country. Every time I come in this country, I see a lot of hope. Not hope necessarily, but I see a lot of opportunities for these young people. There's so many. These young people find themselves in Spain, for example, or in Italy, or in US, starting from scratch with minimum education, and they thrive. I mean, those people that you see in that forum yesterday, or those are, most of them are, all of them are pretty much from Africa.
Yes.
So the young people of this country, if somebody tells you that these young Gambian youths are lazy, they don't want to work, that is not true. I mean, I always question that. When you go to the Badala beach or around the beach, we have parking attendants. Peter, the biggest issue that somebody would have in life is about losing hope. The young people of this country looks like they lost hope. They don't believe that they can be themselves. They can grow to be something else. When I see those parking attendants, that's a full-time job. People are making a living out of that in other countries. So the young people of this country,
but they can't make a living out of that perhaps in this country.
They can if they're shown the way. I mean, if they're shown the way, see, this is where our leaders need to be talking to our youths. The president has a good story. He went to Europe, he came back, established his own business. He should be talking to the youths, give them hope, inspire them to get up from what their attire was and then go and do something. Because if you lose hope, then you don't believe that there's agriculture everywhere. It's been fun. Since I got here, I've been going to the land. I got vacant lands in somewhere there. I'm trying to get some of the youths to go in there and do some basic farming, oranges and all that. But people don't have the hope. They don't believe that.
So you're finding it difficult to get youths to go.
I'm finding it difficult because they lose hope, not because they don't want to. It's because they lost hope. They don't believe.
But you can give them hope by saying, I will pay you at least, living wages. I mean, wages which you don't have to struggle to buy your next meal.
But then what you are doing is that you're enticing them. You're enticing them by paying them. Now, if you create a salary for somebody, for example, right? Now they're going to go and do some minimal work and they expect you to pay them. What I want to do is to do a partnership. When you do the work, you get 50% of it, I get 50%. So you have something to motivate you to get something out of it. I mean, along the road.
So this formula is not washing with them?
No, it's not. I mean, it's just the amount of talent. And it also tells you about our education system. Learning skills and development from early age is the most crucial thing in youth development. People have to be able to create their own businesses. You look at some of the wealthiest people around the world. They started out very young. They were innovative. And there's so many things that they can do and become so independent. It's a matter of motivating them. And we can all do it. When I come in here, sometimes when I go out here, I cry.
Why?
Nobody wants to beg, Peter. You see young, able people begging in this country. I mean, that is just, it breaks my heart.
So? Sometimes I have the feeling that some people think that, they can make a living out of just begging.
Peter, it's a desperation situation. It's destitute. There is dignity in work. If you work, you get something. Nobody wants to depend on anybody. People want to be independent unless they don't believe that they can make it. This is what's happening in this country. They're able-bodied, they're smart, but they don't believe. They've been beaten. They just lost hope. And hope is everything that we need to give back to these youths. We need to engage. I believe in, we started some kind of a program where we bring in youth leaders and discuss about some of the issues. What are some of the solutions? They will give you, gather them up, and they'll tell you this is what we want. But you have to be able to provide them with the support, the technical support, the funding, and then also the motivation. People will be able to do it.
I could cite an example. There was a time when the people of, the youth of Banjul said if they were given canoes, they would go and fish.
Absolutely.
I think you heard that story. Yaya Jammeh gave them, a few canoes. What did they do? They didn't fish. They ended up selling off the canoes.
Right. But I mean, also, let's say you created a factory for that fish. If they fish, how much fish do we see washing off the coast?
But that's another thing. The first thing was, give us this because we want to do this. They were given what they requested.
Right.
All right. And they did not do what they promised they would do.
Right. But you cannot just give it to them and then leave them alone. I mean, we'll get to that perhaps, right? A project of that nature that I have, right? I mean, I can tell you, I mean, you have to get involved. We call it carrot and sticks.
You give it to them and you have to police them.
You do. I mean, you just have to do it because, I mean, again, you put your resources in there and it's in your best interest to be able to help somebody. It's like
you were responsible once you came of age. So why can't the youths of today realize that, we've come of age as well and, we've got
well,
to
Peter, when you and I were growing,
yeah.
you don't see little kids, 10-year-olds, 15-year-olds roaming the streets of Senegambia, the streets.
That didn't happen.
They were at home. They were they were taught.
So why are those 15-year-olds out there today?
Because those people that lost that hope, those are the parents now. A lot of them are the parents.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's a broken family system. You know what I mean?
That says a lot.
It's a social fabric.
That says a lot. That says a lot. You want to talk about politics? We'll come to that after another very quick break.
Yes.
We keep reminding you, adverts are very important to us. Six 699-0107 or 787-0107 or 92424 to support our Facebook. What Facebook? YouTube project especially.
Subscribe. Yes.
Yeah. Listen, you wanted to talk politics. We have about 4 minutes of the program left. We'll take another 5 of the next program. Where would you like to start?
I don't know where to start.
This is the year before elections.
Yes.
First and foremost, what do voters need to look out for?
Voters need to take responsibility and understand what is due to them. Government is not going to give you anything if you don't hold them accountable. You got to know what belongs to you, what rights you have, and what is due to you. This is what people need to know, and they have to be responsible, and they have to take accountability. Accountability starts with us individually. Change doesn't happen by itself. Change starts with us as individual citizens, and then we put pressure. Peter, what's happening in this country is really, really, really incredible. And I see it as a sheer...
Incredible in a positive or negative way?
In a very... I use incredible a lot. My wife teases me all the time. She's like, you're always using incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible in a very, very negative way.
Okay.
You know, there is total negligence. There is a lot of negligence in this country. Disrespect of the public service. You know, you're paying your service, you're paying your fees, and yet you don't getting what you deserve. I keep saying everybody is complaining from the president to the bottom, but very, very few people are doing something about it. Change cannot happen by itself. People have to take the bull by the horn and really understand this. We have to hold our elected officials. Look at the local government area council commissions, Peter. Somebody goes out there, comes to your door, collect money all day, all month, and they take 300,000, 400,000, whatever amount, and put it into their personal account. And yet, when you go to these masjids, you go to these churches, people are praying like lizards.
Exactly.
But they are looting like ants.
Precisely.
I mean, you know, so I mean, the other day the president he went to the University of the Gambia, and he was kind of disappointed. How many times did we hear the president express this? I said he shouldn't be disappointed. He should be outraged. You should be outraged that there are institutions that are failing.
Well, it's one thing to be outraged and then
you got to follow up.
Take no action.
Well, I mean, I think if you're outraged, you perhaps might take an action. If you're just disappointed, you just go back to sleep. But if you're outraged and you're agitated, you can't sleep. You can't even eat. And that's what I said. When leaders in this country shouldn't be able to go to sleep.
Yeah, but that's nothing if you don't take any action.
That's the action is what I'm talking about. Okay. That's what he need to do.
Yeah.
He need to take action. He need to be bold. And he need to say, you lead by example. You start setting the tone. We talked about Jammeh earlier, right? You start setting the tone that you hold people accountable, Peter. When you are not delivering, you are out of there. I mean, the president has a very small window of opportunity now to shape his legacy. And his legacy always is shaping up
Yeah,
already.
and he always talks about wanting to leave a legacy.
Yes.
And I always say, what type of legacy?
Exactly. What is Jammeh's legacy? His brutality, his dictatorship, and the killings and all that. All the good work that he did is all was.
It's undone by, his human rights record.
His human rights record. So right now, the president, his lack of control, his lack of, more or less care. I mean, it's kind of a little bit harsh, but more or less care about what's going on in this country.
We complain about the same things every day, and nothing seems to be being done about them.
Somebody needs to do something about it. And sometimes we blame the president, but it's not only the president. Every citizen mans an institution. Every citizen, you are hired to do a job. Do the job to the best of your ability and go home and go
But
to
if you're
sleep.
hired to do a job and you don't do the job, there should be consequences.
Yes, you should be. But Peter, I mean, the president cannot come down and then fire somebody at GRA who is a junior clerk. The GRA management, there's a chain.
Yeah,
there's a chain of command.
I agree.
So responsibility starts with
but
everybody.
usually the problem is at the very top, Demba.
Exactly. But the top also, not only the president, but the top of the organization, the top of the department, the top of the lead, everybody has a responsibility to execute it. This country, we need to start demanding accountability. And only the citizen can do it. If we do it, the change we demand, we require is going to happen.
Okay, so we should be prepared to take responsibility and demand accountability on the part of the politicians who will be seeking either election or re-election next year, the year after, and the year after that.
So these politicians come to you and they wait until when it's time for elections. You would see that a lot of projects are going to start from now on to 2026.
Yes.
The people wake up. Wake up, Peter. Where I came from, you cannot see. They are the most loyal to government, to my village. Most loyal to government. But they have nothing to show for it. No roads, no running water. My parents grew up without access to clean drinking water, without access to gardens.
When last did you visit the place?
Oh, I'm heading out there today, but I was there 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
Yes.
And still no roads?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
roads.
before somebody sits there and says, oh no, he's based in America, he doesn't go back home.
So, and this is the difference with me. I'm a very, very practical person. I've been engaged in my communities, over there, doing some gardening for them, doing some running water for them at my own cost.
Remind them where you're coming from, because they're all listening.
Yeah, so I came from Jara.
Yes.
You go to Jara Pakaliba. Most of you following me on Facebook have seen the gardens that I've done there, and I did it to inspire other people to do it. Right? If government is not going to do it for us, let's do it for ourselves. There's a lot of us who are outside now, or who are at least here, but they're lucky they have some little resources. They can share those resources with the community. Government is not going to do it for. When we open our garden, the safers were there. The area council were there. The local government were there. All of them. They're saying, "Oh, good job." I'm like, you are supposed to be doing this. But here we are now helping you. Now you need to help them sustain it.
Yeah.
But people, it's just incredible, people, Peter. But we have to get involved. We cannot let our people starve, and the country that cannot feed itself is the starving country. And people have to they really have to come back and do something for them.
So you have a word for the voters, the politicians. What about the umpires, the IEC?
It's the same thing. IEC, they're voters. They're voters, and there are politicians in there too, Peter. Whether we know it or not, there's politicians in there. The IEC, the judiciary, the National Assembly, you name it. People have to take the responsibility, and you have to be accountable. The IEC, the chairman of the IEC's mandate expired maybe more than 10 years ago. And nobody,
more than 10 years ago would be stretching it a bit.
No, actually, when we went to elections, it was 7 years when they extended his mandate. 7 years when we went to last election, 2021. Now it's what? We're in 2025. So we've hit the 10 years. The man cannot even speak.
You mean he's been there more than 10 years?
No, I mean his mandate. Well, he retired.
Don't they have maximum two terms of 7 years?
Yes, they gave him a contract. They extended his contract.
Yeah.
His initial contract
expired. Because his second term expired.
Tita, he cannot even sit on the radio and then announce results. With all due respect.
When he announces, we just don't hear. The announcements are inaudible.
But that's what it is. If you cannot hear me right now, then I cannot.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what it is. But somebody has to take responsibility and say, listen, this thing, sometimes just us as citizens, even the senior citizen himself, with all due respect, if you cannot do it anymore, do justice to your country, do justice to yourself, and let go.
Oh, senior citizen? You mean the first citizen?
No, I mean the IEC chair himself.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people taking responsibility and just leaving.
Because I'm a senior citizen.
No, you're not. You still look very, very young.
I'm a senior citizen. Demba, just very quickly, in 1 minute, how would you like to, round up this conversation?
No, Peter, I appreciate you. I mean, I keep up the good work. I appreciate you. I follow this radio a lot. I hear a lot of people coming in here and demanding accountability. I love it, right? We have to talk. Not only talk, we have to walk the walk. If you come in here and you talk all in sweet talks, right? When you go out there, you take the action. We always talk, but we never implement.
Absolutely.
So I would urge everybody just to, let's follow up. Let's enforce the laws, but let's also be good citizens and obey the laws. Thank you very much for
Demba, thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
All right.
It's a pleasure.
The principal of Methodist Academy and the school's board chairman will be my guests on Monday as Methodist Academy turns 30 next week. Then on Tuesday, I've already flagged it, I expect the studio to be saturated with police as the Inspector General of Police comes live on the program to engage with me, but also to take your questions, which you may actually start sending in advance. If you have already been received, so keep them coming. Interacting with Sidi Mukhtar Tule will help him know how much work his men and women in uniform have done and remains to be done, especially in the communities. So I look forward to a highly interactive session.